Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dee Dee. We are the hilarious outcome of opposing brains sharing a mutual desire to share knowledge and positive thinking about hemp and cannabis.
We are here to tear down the walls built by Big Pharma and other big companies that seek to keep the human race in fear and divided.
We are here to shatter the myths about hemp and cannabis and change the stigma of this amazing plant. Welcome to Hemp and Happiness with the Hemp Queen
And Emperor.
Podcast. Join us as we venture into this misunderstood and the unknown. Hello, happy hempsters. Are you ready there, Matt?
I am.
Okay.
Speaking to the microphone.
Yes, something like that. Hey, guys, we are actually recording out of our new store, and probably by the time this one drops, we may be open. Hashtag goals. But our new 812 Hemp store. So this is also going to be the location where we record our podcast and, continue to help people with our amazing cannabis and CBD and Delta 8 and Delta 9 products. So we're pretty excited about it. Hopefully it'll be the first week of December. Follow us on 812 Hemp. Follow us on 502 Wellness Center and 502 Hemp and 812 Hemp on Instagram. And we will be dropping all that information once we are 100% sure that that's the day we're opening. Because had it been up to me, we'd have done this back in October, but we just weren't ready. So it happens. It happens. But we got such a beautiful space, and I can't wait to show everyone. I freaking love it.
It's pimp.
It is. The floors are beautiful. I even got a kitchen. I got a kitchen.
Dee Dee's moving in. She's going to live here now.
Almost good, with the exception of a shower. But,
we can make that happen.
Yeah, we could totally make that happen. Hey, honey, if I'm ever not home, I'm at my other house. So,
That's disturbing.
It is disturbing, isn't it?
I don't know. I used to shower at my old office all the time. I had a shower in there, but that was a construction office, so a little different.
That's way different.
Yeah.
Way different.
I slept there, too, on occasion.
Well, yeah. I don't
Anyway.
Only if it was really, snowy out or something, I do that.
No.
I got all-wheel drive. I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, the holidays.
Indeed.
Anyway. So today what we're going to talk about, which I kind of did a lot of research on, I wouldn't say a lot because, you only have so much time in the day, but I wanted to talk about fibromyalgia, what it is, what are some symptoms of it, what people have done in the past, what people are doing now. I think it's super important to talk about specific, ailments that people have that come into our store that use our products, what they're using it for. That's all important, and tons of anecdotal evidence that our products help people with fibromyalgia. But what really is fibromyalgia? I truly feel like it is something that has just been recently labeled as kind of a, with the lack of a better word, like a dump all. Like you have
catch-all.
Yeah, catch-all. I like dump all though. I do like to make my own words up. Catch-all. Kind of a catch-all type thing, because fibromyalgia, they talk about it being a musculoskeletal disorder that amplifies the way the brain processes pain. And it often leaves the body's pain receptors in hyperdrive. So pain is one of the biggest symptoms of fibromyalgia, just pain in different places. I read a story about how one lady, she just stubbed her toe and was in pain for days on her toe, even though it was minor and probably had, if one of us did it, we'd be fine. Yeah, we hurt our toe, it hurts for a little bit and then it goes away, right? But for fibromyalgia people, that it doesn't happen that way. It stays and stays and stays like that. So that was one thing that really got to me. I was like, ugh. And then you're in pain constantly. You can't do the things that you love to do. So then that can bring on depression. That can bring on sleep issues, anxiety. They talk about those as being some of the things. Joint stiffness, muscle stiffness, having a hard time concentrating because your body's in pain everywhere you turn. They talked about that a lot. Even bowel troubles, like issues with your bowels. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty regular. I like to be regular. It's a good thing for you, I think. So having that kind of stuff, that's just It almost sounds like my sister has fibro. She just doesn't know it.
Well, but you just said it's a catch-all.
It is.
And there's no scientific or medical test that can prove its existence.
No, I don't believe so. There definitely needs to be a lot more research on this.
So what it probably is a variety of ailments being conglomerated
And lumped
into,
together.
oh, you have fibromyalgia.
Right.
So that they can produce a medical protocol and a regimen of medications.
And unfortunately, most of those medications are pain pills. I think gabapentin's the number one prescribed thing for anybody with fibromyalgia. And they're...
Or fibromyalgia is the number one thing for people who want gabapentin.
Yeah, I guess if you look at it that way.
Because it would be very easy to say, doc, terrible pain.
Well,
terrible pain.
But they
Need some of that GABA.
They even put restless leg syndrome in there, which I actually have that. So, and I could tell a huge difference when I had to get off of it for my CBD off of it for a week. It was a big difference. I also feel like I have creepy crawlies on my legs. So I'm sitting here right now and I feel like there's things crawling on my legs. And it's weird. Like I'm used to it, so I don't even really think about it. Like unless I'm thinking about it, and then I feel it even more. But for just like the day in and day out stuff, I don't pay much attention. And I don't know when that happened, but I've had that like since I was a little girl. My dad literally he was afraid that we had bed bugs, so he took my mattress outside, and this was the worst thing he could have done. He sprayed it down with water. And I swear to God, I slept on a moldy mattress for years because it never smelled right after that. But it was my internal body feeling like things were crawling on me. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
But is that psychological?
I don't know. I mean, is that something wrong with me?
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm definitely not certified to tell you if that.
No,
I can tell you
not.
something's wrong with you. I can promise you that. But
there's
as far
lots
as
of things
as
wrong
far
with
as
me.
Is it a physiological or psychological ailment? Is what I'm curious of, because here's the thing is I have had insect issues in homes, places that I've lived. I mean, let's face it, I've lived outdoors.
Yeah.
And
I wonder about you now.
Well, I don't live outdoors anymore, but I would.
God, I know
but I
your
don't. I choose.
other very
I
well,
choose not to. But in those circumstances, I had instances where I would have insect infestations, or I would just be simply living amongst the insects.
Right.
And one situation in particular where there were a lot of wild animals that had fleas. And it was a very arid region I was living in at the time. So fleas were abundant, and you'd get them, and it was gross.
Yeah.
And it took a very long time for me to be away from
flea baths,
fleas.
did you? He's pretty hairy, folks.
I believe it or not, I did have to treat myself for fleas. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've lived my life.
Right.
I've lived my life. I've had these experiences. But anyway, the point is, there were it was a long time before I wouldn't be like paranoid or like, is there a flea crawling up on me?
Yeah.
Like, what's that feeling? But it was all in my head.
But we never had any bugs like that growing up. Well, not like that.
What I'm saying is these things can manifest.
They can.
It can be
But why would that still be bothering me now as an adult?
I don't know. Maybe you should talk to someone.
I'm a clean freak, man.
I know. But exactly, you're a clean freak.
You think that's why I'm a clean freak?
Possibly. I think that's interesting.
I mean, if I see any kind of bug anywhere, I'm like, kill it. Other than spiders, because they eat the bugs. So I like to save the spiders, but still, I don't want them ever crawling on me either.
Well, so to circle back, I just think that this stuff, one, if it's psychological.
Well,
that's one thing.
CBD, full spectrum, can help with that too.
Right. I agree.
And it even does me. I mean, I can tell a difference when I don't take it as opposed to taking it.
If it's physiological, then I think that needs to be identified. Like we discussed earlier, if it's especially if it's a endocannabinoid deficiency issue.
Oh, yes. And
then that
was one of the things that they talked about in the research, that may be that there may be a specific issue right there that you do not have the cannabinoids you need, and it is a deficiency. Like they're doing research now that's what a lot of these fibromyalgia symptoms could be a result of.
Right.
So when people turn to their medical doctors and they're starting to get all these pills and going through all this, let's try this, let's try that. Obviously we're not medical doctors, but it would behoove you to try full spectrum CBD products prior to all of this other stuff. Now, if you already have it in your head that it's not going to work, it ain't going to work. You know what I mean?
Especially if it's psychological.
Exactly if it's psychological. But if you are open to trying something that is natural, that doesn't cause side effects, that can possibly help you in more ways than you are even aware of, because a lot of times in CBD products, you don't feel you don't feel it working, but it is. Yeah. It is. And usually people notice that it works when they stop taking it. We get a lot of customers that, I stopped taking it for a while and my God, my joints hurt, or, my arthritis is bad again. And I was like, yeah, because when you're not in pain, you don't think about the pain. Right? It's only when you're in pain that you think about it.
Well, yes. And that's the difference that's what makes THC the unique cannabinoid in the profile, because except for I would say arguably with the exception of CBN, because if I take CBN in a high enough quantity, I don't feel intoxicated necessarily, but I do feel very sleepy.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess if I take THCV too, but that's a THC.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what makes THC unique, because when you take THC, you feel different.
Yes.
When you take CBD, and there's some other, with the functionality of the cannabinoid and how it reacts with the CB1 and CB2 receptors, and we can get all into the science of it. But the bottom line is, when you take THC, you feel different, and people are like, "Oh, I feel different." When you take CBD, it's doing things for your body to help you and benefit your body, but you're not necessarily, well, and again, anecdotal, not making any claims here.
Correct. No claims are being made.
To any, anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that tricks people into thinking, it's the same thing. Like, you can take a really good supplement for exercise that's really healthy for your body and say, oh, it's not doing anything.
Right.
And then you can take a crap load of caffeine and beta-alanine and be like, oh, I feel great.
Right. Like I take my vitamins every day. I don't necessarily feel anything from those vitamins, but I usually feel kind of shitty when I haven't had them for a couple days.
Well, I think, it's interesting because supplements have a rocky road of proof.
I know.
And there's a lot of people that are on both sides of the fence. And I think that if you look at it hard enough, both people have valid arguments.
Well, I just know that people, especially people that have had like gastric bypass or any kind of bariatric surgery, you definitely need some supplements.
Well, but here's the thing too, is we live, unfortunately, in a world, culture and society where we deprive ourselves of things that we would naturally receive otherwise if we lived like normal animals, the normal animals that we are. We've created a synthetic lifestyle that deprives us of certain things and subjects us to other, impurities and
that comes back
things.
to the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, which I've said I couldn't tell you how many times that they need to be separate, because you don't want drugs in your food and you don't want food in your drugs. So it's one or the other. When they let
agree to disagree.
Please, you're being
what's inedible?
Oh, well, that's no. I'm talking about like pesticides in our food. Like that, and the fake food, the slime, the pink slime and shit, the stuff that they put fillers.
I don't know what you're eating.
Did you know that most people do not know this, but cellulose is wood pulp? So when you read,
and it's good for you.
No, that's good fiber. Wood. Are you a beaver?
You literally just talked about how much you like to be regular.
Oh Jesus! But
I'll
not
chew
from
on some
pulp.
wood.
Oh my God, we're not beavers. We're not beavers. But there's things that go into our food that shouldn't be in there. I mean,
Yes,
and
that is true.
That are not healthy.
There are dyes. There are food dyes approved, food colorings approved from the FDA, where one of the side effects is death.
Yeah,
and it's approved.
Yeah, and hell, heaven forbid you take some marijuana to help yourself. Oh, my Lord.
The point is, we don't want to get down this negative maelstrom of blah. The point is that CBD and all the cannabinoids, including THC,
yes,
anecdotally do have a lot of benefit. They could help you if you have fibromyalgia.
Correct.
Whether be it psychological or physiological, there is potential for benefit, at least to the point where it's worth taking a try.
Right. So yeah,
it's definitely healthier than any medication you're going to be prescribed.
Exactly. I mean, if Big Pharma was truly healthy, I mean, and don't get me wrong, there are medications out there that are life-saving and that is very much needed. But a lot of the newer stuff now, I mean, it's mostly pumping people full of opiates and, you get the addiction side to it and all that crap. So I just would behoove you to try a natural remedy. And especially, like, I take the CBD products for my anxiety and my restless leg, obviously. But those two in depression, and it helped me so much. That's what made me open my store. I mean, yeah, I knew it was helping my husband with his seizures, but not that many people have seizures. You know what I mean? So it wasn't...
You'd be surprised.
I know, but it wasn't until I used it myself that I was like, wow. And then started doing my research. This is beneficial for everyone. Everyone. Everybody has an endocannabinoid system.
Yes. And everyone produces endocannabinoids.
Yes, but based on our diet, based on our lifestyle, a lot of people do not produce their own.
Well, and then we circle back to the artificial.
Exactly.
Essentially, we're living an artificial lifestyle. Yes. So step one is wellness is to get yourself into a lifestyle that is as natural as you can get it,
right?
And then start introducing healthy supplements for anything you might be deficient in.
Right. Exactly. Which is important.
Agreed.
So I just think that, CBD has, and cannabis in general, I always kind of interchange the two. It has so much more benefit that people just aren't aware of. And that's why we're here. That's why we have 502 Hemp. That's why we have, I'm getting ready to open 812 Hemp if we haven't already. But that's what we're here for. We're here to answer questions that you may have. We're here to do the research. I am constantly reading about something new in the industry. And, oh, dude, did you hear about this cannabinoid? And mind you, Matt and I are both on the same page with this. We only carry natural cannabinoids. We do not carry the cannabinoids that are completely synthetically made. There's no research on them. God only knows what they could be doing to your system. I'm very anti that. And a lot of people are using some of these cannabinoids, and you don't know what these things truly do to you. So just be careful out there, folks. Try to stick with reputable places when you do buy these products, whether it's Delta 8, Delta 9, or the CBD.
Well, go to a wellness center.
Yeah.
Don't go to a smoke shop.
Exactly. Wellness centers. Definitely not a gas station, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst things you can do is buy a health food at a gas station. That does not exist.
Yeah.
But just, that's what we're here for, to answer your questions. And if you're suffering with fibromyalgia,
buying CBD at a gas station is like going to a strip club and looking for a long-term relationship. That's essentially what you're doing.
You never know. I mean,
it just worked out. It's amazing.
Or porn star. I mean, come on. Same kind of thing. What are you marrying a porn star? No.
Oh, and hoping it'll last.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine
you can make that work.
I don't know about that.
Rules. It's all about the rules.
Oh, okay. I mean, those are some hefty rules. Anyway, moving on. So many things I could say there. It's just probably best I leave those to myself.
That's all good.
My poor husband. But anyway, if you guys had, we joke, so sorry about that. But Or actually, I'm not. But anyway, if you have questions, reach out to us. That is exactly why we're here. And with the holidays coming up and the seasons changing, because I know you've been kind of suffering with the season changing, the cold, the hot, the cold, the hot, kind of getting to you. Well, and it also affects, which we'll probably have to do a podcast on it, seasonal depression disorder. I truly believe it's real. So some people do, some people don't. But we'll probably talk about that in a future podcast. But again, reach out to us. We're always here, available to help answer any questions you have. You do not need to drive to other states. We have good, safe, reliable products here in Kentucky and soon to be in Indiana as well. But that's about all I had, Matt. So, Yeah. Happy holidays. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for listening. As always, have a safe and awesome day.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Hemp and Happiness with the Hemp Queen
and Emperor.
Keep your mind ever open and expanding. Like, subscribe, review, follow us, all the good stuff. And
keep it hempy out there.